This is the One Girl Revolution podcast, a podcast that highlights the stories of world-changing women and girls across the country. We hope that these stories inspire you, but even more so, we hope that these stories help you to see your own value, your purpose, and your power to change the world through your life. Every woman and girl is a One Girl Revolution. This is the One Girl Revolution podcast, and I'm your host, Kate Milligan. This week, we're honored to welcome Shana White, founder of Picking Up the Pieces, a Detroit-based nonprofit organization that provides vital support and resources to individuals and families affected by homelessness. Through her work, Shana helps people navigate difficult circumstances, find stability, and rebuild their lives with dignity and hope. Picking Up the Pieces offers essential resources, advocacy, and a supportive community, ensuring that no one has to walk this journey alone. Shana's story is one of resilience, compassion, and a deep commitment to uplifting others. Join us as Shana shares her journey, the inspiration behind her work, and how she's making a lasting impact in the lives of so many. Here's my conversation with Shana White. Shana, welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you via Zoom, but we're here, and I know that we are not too far from each other, but
Yes.
this was just such a opportunity that I had to jump at to get you on Zoom to interview you. I know you're so busy and you have so much going on, but multiple One Girl Revolutions, previous One Girl Revolutions, but they're still One Girl Revolutions. They just kept bringing up your name and like speaking your name into the universe. And so here we are. I was like, I got to have Shana on to talk about Picking Up the Pieces and to talk about your life and just everything you have going on. And so I want to talk about Picking Up the Pieces. But before we get into that, I would love to rewind and hear a little bit about your own story, who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about your own life journey.
Absolutely. So again, thanks for having me. And I am Shana White, the founder and CEO of Picking Up the Pieces. And oh my goodness, my story. So Picking Up the Pieces evolved after being homeless with my son at a young age. I was 17 when I got pregnant. I had him at 18 and just trying to get on my feet. Unfortunately, I didn't have any family. I come from the only child and the only grandchild, right? So there is just me, okay? So trying to get out here and quote unquote make it happen for me and my son, there were limited resources. There were 99 food pantries. There were help with rent per se. But once you got in the place, right, you still felt like you were in a shelter. We were sleeping still on the floor. And even though the government says, hey, here's a housing grant, but housing doesn't bring stability. It doesn't bring you to strive. It doesn't bring you to go. It doesn't bring you to move forward. And oftentimes I felt depressed and just trying to make it as not so much as my son was, what we were going through. I was just trying to make it as simple as possible for him. But coming home sleeping on the floor didn't make it any better. So there were limited resources for that. There were none. And then when they give you the vouchers for like the furniture bank and things like that, they give you a voucher for one piece of furniture. How is somebody supposed to do that? How is my child supposed to thrive? And it was about him for me. And it was like, how is he supposed to do good on his grades? How is he supposed to act like nothing is happening when he's coming home sleeping on the floor? How am I supposed to come home and after busting my tail for 8 or 10 hours trying to pay the lights and gas and sleep on the floor? Again, 99 food pantries, but no plates, no forks, no essential items. A lot of people just don't think about that. And so that's where Picking Up the Pieces came from. That's where I promised that I will come back and gather all of my folks and come back and pick up everybody that I possibly can so that they can have something, because it's about striving, it's about stability, it's about making it, not having to pick or choose. As my story, should I pay the light bill or should I go get a mattress? So that's where it came from.
It's about survival, really, right? Like, and I think yesterday I had a conversation with someone and we were just talking about homelessness and how so many people, there's so many misconceptions, right? All of us are like, we see someone who is experiencing homelessness and we might make up a story in our heads for why that's happening. Or in your case where you have a floor to sleep on, but you're working and you're like struggling just to get by, and there aren't resources for people, but also so many people haven't even been taught, right? Like you're just
Mhm.
a kid yourself when you had your son, and then
Mhm.
like figuring out, okay, how do I pay my bills? How do I budget? How do I do this? How do I do that? And so many people, especially single moms, like they don't have family. They don't have a support system like you experienced. And it's so important for people like you to share your stories because you were working, and like to the outside world, people might have been like, all right, Shana, come on, get it together. Why can't you? And you're like, no, I'm trudging water.
Absolutely. And it was a pick or choose moment. It was go get a mattress or pay your DTE bill, pay your portion of the rent, or get forks and spoons so that we can eat off of. It was, and it was again pick or choose moments. It wasn't so much, trying to survive, but it was stability. Like I want to make, usually, it's family orientated. So the families that we help usually have children. Sometimes they don't, but I have a job, but it's either pick or choose. So why not come in with donated items to help these families and say, okay, I got a home. Not only do I have a home, but I want to keep it up. And that's the difference, you know. And it's not, again, I was working, but I was still one paycheck away from being back out on the street.
And that's so many people's stories, right? Where it's like,
Yes.
you're just one step away from yeah, being out on the streets. And so here you are like working and trying to figure this out. What was it that finally got you back on your feet? Tell me that story, like where you and your son finally were like in a good place. Was it work? Was it resources? Was it somebody helped you? Was it a mix of things?
It was a mix of things. I kept focused. I was determined to again make it happen for my son. I didn't want him to feel displaced. And that's the thing. Sometimes when people um have to be, displaced, we don't want our children to know, right? We want to make it as seamless as possible. And that's what the goal was. And um it's funny because my son, I, I move in silence per se. And so when I was starting the organization, he kind of found out, through the grapevine or whatever. And he said, Mommy, I remember, is that the time when I had on my dinosaur slippers and my onesie, like his one pajamas? I said, yep, that's what it was. And he said, I remember that. But it was my goal and my focus and him motivating me to actually keep a seamless process. And so I switched jobs. I beefed up my resume to get a better job with more income. There were some resources, but again, who's going to buy a bed, or who's going to buy not one bed but two, right? Things like that. So there were a few resources, but churches. I met a lady. I call her my little guardian angel. That I was in the homeless shelter. But the homeless shelter was considered a church. So every week the church would bed homeless people in the shelter. And it was this lady, and she says, she was just such a joy. She made it so welcoming and loving and things like that. So just her, seeing her like, okay, you can do it, and motivating me. I got a better job, and I just took one piece at a time. I brought his bed first, and then we slept, and then I brought another bed. But it took so long. It took years for me to refurnish, to redevelop, and to regain the things that were necessary for us to live.
Every woman and girl has a story, and their stories have the power to change the world. But we need your help to keep telling them. For just $6 a month, you can support One Girl Revolution and help amplify the voices and stories of world-changing women and girls. Your support means more stories, more inspiration, and a bigger impact. Join us today. Please visit onegirlrevolution.com/donate to give and be a part of the movement. So, not to open up a bigger story, even though
Right.
I know it's a big story of like your own life journey, but I think it's important that we talk about the spark moment or the
Mhm.
moment that kind of led to picking up the pieces. Cause I know that you made a promise to yourself, like, I'm going to
Yes,
go when I'm okay, I'm going to get to a place where I'm going to be able to help
absolutely.
other people and I'm going to start something. You probably didn't say, okay, I'm going to start a nonprofit. I'll just like help people that are in my own community or whatever. And
Right.
then it's just grown and evolved into what you're doing now. Talk
Mhm.
about how you came up with the idea for picking up the pieces.
I was doing this, and I didn't know that I was doing it. I had a friend of mine that he needed his boys were coming home, and it was a man, but his boys were coming home, and he was taking care of his grandmother at the time, and low paying job, or just the job, right? And he needed beds for his children. He was going to get his sons, and he needed beds for the children. And so I said, I'll go get them. I'll figure it out. But when you come back from being on the road with your children, because he had to go there, drive there, and come back, they had beds. And so that was the start of it for me, actually. And I just kept um, just being introduced to people that needed help, right? So I just kept doing this, and didn't know, and didn't have a name for it, or didn't know. And I've always had a niche for interior design. My mom always said, you're always making something out of nothing, Shana." I would create stuff, and that's actually how this started for me and my son. Was, I would decorate. I would take, little pieces of this and little pieces of that. I would go to the resale store and get used items, and I would spray paint them, and I would make them beautiful, because that's what I like. I like beautiful things. And so that's how we kind of started, me going to the resale shops, and people just are like, "Oh, I just need this." And I'm like, let me go find that for you.
Well, and that changes your whole lifestyle on a daily basis, right? If you're
Absolutely.
living in a place that's beautiful, or you
Yeah.
feel you wake up in the morning and you're in a cozy bed and
Yes.
comfy sheets and your room is all painted lovely, like that's going to change the way that you like wake up in the morning and that's going to change the way that you
Absolutely.
live your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it changed the way I lived. It changed my perspective. So I knew if I could do that for myself, I could do that for somebody else. And that's what it was about. It was, I'm going to give you hope. And that's the behind the scenes of, I'm going to give you hope. In this hopeless situation, I'll bring hope to you. Watch. I'm going to help you. So that's what it is. Hope.
Well, you're bringing so many people hope through picking up the pieces. For people that
Yes.
are listening, talk about the mission of picking up the pieces. I know, there's interior design that's built
Yes.
in, but talk about the mission of picking up the pieces.
Absolutely. So, picking up the pieces mission is, it is transform. So I just want to read it verbatim.
Yeah.
It's transferring lives through the power of design, breaking down the barriers of homeless reentry, one thoughtfully crafted interior home design at a time. And thoughtfully is in bold because I don't have step on these families that I go into. I don't have step. I put things that I want in my home, and it's a thoughtful process, whether it's a domestic violence family that is just um, re-entered their stable environment, whether it's a mother with 7 children in one bedroom. I've done that. It's a thoughtful process. I put a lot of time, I put a lot of creativity into these designs. So absolutely, and my team does as well.
Yeah. How do you get connected to the families and the individuals that you're working with? And like, how do you source all of the goods or all the things that you need to do that interior design?
So our program is a referral base only. And the reason it's in referral base is because we want to be intentional about our services and our gifts and our talents. And so they come through homeless shelters, they come through um, case managers that have, and these people have done the work. And so we want those people to that have done the work that are saying, okay, I have 10 toes down. I just need a little bit of hope. And then here comes picking up the pieces. Donations, we literally house these people, or not house these people, but do their design with all donated items. Um, People reach out word of mouth. They come through our website and they're like, hey, I have this garage full of furniture. Can you come get it? Can we drop it off to you? And so we store our things in our in a warehouse right now. We're looking for additional storage or an actual warehouse right now, but we store them in, just a storage facility, and we do it. We make it happen.
I know you mentioned from your own story that you were sometimes like one paycheck away from
Mm-hmm.
ending up homeless. What what is the walk like with these people? Like, you don't necessarily come in and just design their house and be like, all right, peace out, have a nice life. I'm sure that you stay in touch with them and you're able to step in and either provide resources or connect them with other resources, right, to keep them in their living space too.
Absolutely. So the reason why we get our families from caseworkers or homeless shelters or things like that is because the caseworker does the majority of helping them with the resources as far as their jobs, as far as gaining employment, things like that. But we do follow up with our clients, and the reason we do is because we want to know how those children are doing. Right. So that those children usually are sleeping on the floors. And the state of Michigan, where I'm from, says, I still want you to do good on your testing. I still want you to do good on your meat testing, or it's not meat anymore, but your state and national testing. But how could they? When they have no desks, they have no lamps, they have no bed to sleep on. So we usually get permission from the moms or the parents to talk with their teachers, the before and after, to ask how those students are doing, right? And how those children are doing. And I always get wonderful support because it always helps in their school, but it helps in their mental health too. It helps them become well-rounded people. They want to socialize because now they're like, okay, I'm like this person, or I know that this person talks about their home. Now I can talk about my home now, things like that. And it gives them confidence, right? So we always get those reports from the teachers and get those reports from the mom, like, oh, the child loves to go to their desk and do their homework. Now, before I couldn't even get them to do their homework, they love doing their homework because they know they have a desk. Now they have a chair. And that's what matters and that's what's important.
Yeah, it's creating this space for them to be living in, but you're also building this community around people. We all need community, right? We all need support systems and people just that, like, hey, this is going on, celebration, like this great thing is happening, or I'm struggling with this, or the kids are struggling with this. We all need that community and support system. And even like
Absolutely.
you shared with your own story, so many people don't have that family support system, or like so many of us in this day and age, it's like you don't have multi generations living in the same house or in the same neighborhood like that used to be the case. And
Mm-hmm.
now it's like we kind of have to build our own community wherever we end up, we're planted. And it's so important to find that community, but you're really building that community and support system around people, around your clients.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I am sure there are so many different stories of people that you've been able to work with, and there's so you could write a book or books about all the different people that you've served. But is there a story or two, Shana, that come to mind when you think about the impact of your work on someone's life? Maybe it's a family, maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
an individual, but is there a story or two you could share?
Absolutely. So I encountered a family with 6 children, 7 people, 1 bedroom apartment. And that was all that she can afford. She sold her car to get this 1 bedroom apartment. And that was all that she can afford. And I did our intake, which is our, after we receive the client, we do an intake. And I received the intake. And I did the intake and I said, okay. And the children were running around and they were like, who are you? Who are you? And I don't know what it was, but the six children, not 6 children, 7 people, 1 bedroom. And I walked in, I did the intake, and I said, okay. And the mom was like, I don't know what this program is, but it's you. It's you that I needed. And I said, and I was pulled back because I said, okay, okay. And even though we do an intake, does not guarantee that we try to do as many homes as possible, but there's no guarantee because we don't, the resources, right? And so I go into the children's room and I always take pictures of the home, do measurements, things like that. And my team, this particular time, didn't come with me on the intake. So I go back and I report to the team and I say, okay, well, we have 7 people, 1 bedroom, and we're going to do it. They said, huh? I said, we're going to do it. I said, I don't know how. I said, but we're going to do it. So I put 3 bunk beds, 3 sets of bunk beds in one room. I put a pull-out couch in the living room for mom. And when they walked in, it was the one child. And we were taking pictures, getting, media and things like that. And he says, why did you do this for me? And I said, because you deserved it. And that story has been my hope. That story has been my why. And that's what matters. It's because most of these people that we encounter feel like they have hit rock bottom. And there is no hope. And when he wasn't, scripted to do that. He wasn't, and there were 6 of them. He came to me and said, why'd you do this for me? Because you deserve it. And he gave me the biggest hug. He says, I have a bed. We all have a bed. Thank you. And I think he was he was under 10. So just to know that not only did I give that mom hope, I gave those children hope.
You changed their life, I'm sure, in so
Yes,
many different ways. It's like, okay, it's a
absolutely.
bed, it's making your house like livable, right? When you have a 1 bedroom with 7 people in it, you're actually like creating this space where they can live. I'm sure it
Absolutely.
still was cramped. But
No,
still.
like I literally made it work. It was crazy because my team came in and said 6 children are going in here. And I'm like, and they are. And they had, and one of the babies, they said, I just want a dollhouse. I want a Barbie house. So when she walked into the room, I had found one on the marketplace, and she was like, I have a Barbie house. And I was like, yeah. And and it didn't cost me any. I mean, somebody donated it because I got it off marketplace, and they were like, you know what you're doing here's the dollhouse and all the accessories. And that those girls were so ecstatic. They were like, all I wanted was a Barbie house. And I was like, okay. So I went on a mission and I found them a Barbie house.
That's amazing. And it's just testament that we can all do something, right? If you're selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace and somebody reaches out to you and they can't
Absolutely.
afford it, or like somebody like you who is working with a nonprofit and like, hey, we're doing this project. We can all do something. We can all give, whether it's our
Absolutely.
time, our talent, our treasure, we can all do something. And so you're such a great reminder of that. And also, I loved before when you were telling that story that you used the word encounter. I've been thinking
Yes.
about that a lot lately. Like that word, it's like if we encountered one
Hmm.
another or we encountered people
Yeah.
on a daily basis, how differently we would treat other people, right? Like
Absolutely.
seeing people, like the people that you're
Hmm.
working with, that family, it's like you sat and listened to them. This mom is probably like, this is the first time that an adult has talked to me or listened to me
Absolutely.
and who knows how long. And so just creating that space, that's something that all of us can do a better job of,
Hmm.
myself included, where it's like,
Yeah.
let me encounter people, let me get to know my neighbors, people in my own community, and
Hmm.
how can I just open my eyes on a daily basis? We're all so busy, but create that space
Absolutely.
to just listen to people and see people.
And it's that first, again, it's that first, how are you? And then wait on the response. Just don't say, how are you, and walk away. I practice that all the time because I say, it's, if I don't, and sometimes I'm human, right? Sometimes, and we're busy. So sometimes, not how are you, but I hope you're doing well, instead of waiting on, I hope you're doing well. That's more than hi. That means I care about you. I don't have much time to speak with you, but I hope you're doing well today. It's changing your language. And once you start changing your language and changing your posture, you begin to make it a habit, instead of, hey, how are you, and then keep walking you
Mm.
know
Women and girls are making history every single day, changing the world through their voices, their lives, and their actions. And now it's time to celebrate. March is Women's History Month, and we are coming in with a bang. Join us for The Power of Her, a celebration of women making history, hosted by One Girl Revolution on Saturday, March 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Congregation in Detroit, Michigan. Experience the magic of a live video podcast recording featuring incredible women and girls and their stories. Dance the night away with DJ Mint. Shop and support women owned social enterprises at our exclusive One Girl Revolution marketplace. Connect, celebrate, and be inspired by incredible women and girls shaping history throughout Metro Detroit. The Power of Her is a historic event that you don't want to miss. Sign up today and join us on March 1st from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Congregation in Detroit. Yeah, we can all do something. We can all do that. We can all work to be better and better
Absolutely.
communicators. And so thank you for being such a beacon of light. And
Oh,
I'm
thank
so
you.
excited to know, where is Picking Up the Pieces going from here? Where in your dream of dream
Yes.
worlds, where do you hope that Picking Up the Pieces goes from here? And what are some things that you're working on?
Absolutely. So picking up the pieces, we definitely need a warehouse space. So if somebody has a warehouse space that wants to, go ahead and donate that, and absolutely, because we have so many people that want to donate their, furniture that's in great condition, that I have no room for, but want to help a family. Because we have more families than we could, that we would like to have, because that's just the way that the world is going right now. And then two, we have a pancake brunch fundraiser coming up, March the 22nd. That's a Saturday. and the tickets are $35. And what's different about this event, I love this event. This is our second year doing this event, but if I could just share with you for just a second, this event is so special because most of the time, right, you go to a fundraiser or with some type of food, and if everybody doesn't show up, right, what happens to the food?
Gets thrown out.
Not this pancake breakfast, honey. So what happens is we pack up all our leftovers and nothing. Absolutely, I wish somebody would throw some food away at my pancake breakfast. Everything goes to the homeless that day. So we go down to the park in Detroit and we bag it up. Whole Foods has donated their bags to us, and we pack everything up. People sponsor pancake breakfast. Like if you can't make it, then people would, still sponsor a breakfast, and we pack everything up, and we try to get at least 50 containers or bags so that we can go down there that same day, right after the pancake breakfast, boots on the ground, and we give those bags out to the homeless people. We forks and spoons, we give them silverware, we give them water, juice, we give them salt and pepper, we give them everything that they need to eat. Everything that we had at the pancake breakfast, we give that to them as well, so that they can have a pancake breakfast to enjoy that particular day as well. So that's what's so special about this particular event. So if you can't make it, then I would ask that you sponsor a breakfast for a homeless person that day.
Yeah, well, I will be sure to put the link to all that information so people can
Yes,
easily get involved and they can support the pancake breakfast. Of
yes,
course, even if you're not in the Metro Detroit area, you can
yes,
still sponsor a breakfast and you can still support
absolutely.
the work that you're doing. So, Shayna, how do people, so obviously the pancake breakfast, but
Right.
how else can people get involved in the work that you're doing? I'm sure they can donate
Yes,
money. I'm sure that corporations can donate space
yes,
or money, furniture. Talk about all the different ways that people can support your work and how can
yes,
we all get involved?
absolutely. So our website is www.pickingupdetroit.org. There you can find ways to donate. We have a Amazon list. We have different lists from different stores that you can buy from. We have our donation page, things that we do take. We don't take any appliances, but we do take other household essentials, and that list is there. You can send your pictures of your gently used furniture items to info@pickingupdetroit.org. And if you want to volunteer, that information is on there as well. There's a volunteer form. Your information goes into our secure database. And once we have a home or need warehouse help, we call those people up and say, hey, we need you. We need boots on the ground. So anything that is concerning picking up the pieces is on our website at pickingupdetroit.org.
And I will put your website and your social media in the
Yes,
show notes so people can easily get in touch with you. They can
yes.
easily find that and get connected with you.
Okay.
And I'll tag you in all the social media posts so people can easily follow. And I always say that the free and easy way for any of us to support the work of organizations and individuals like you is just to follow and share too. You never
Absolutely. We're
know.
on Instagram, LinkedIn,
Yeah,
and
totally.
Facebook at Picking Up the Pieces on Facebook, and then Picking Up Detroit on Instagram and
Awesome.
LinkedIn as well.
I will put those links in there so people can
Thank
easily get in
you.
touch with you. Shayna, I'm so curious. I'm always curious about,
Yes.
what makes people do what they do every single day. And I'm sure for you, doing what you're doing every single day
Yes.
with picking up the pieces, there's probably a connection to your own story, but
Yes.
also there's a connection to what you're experiencing every single day with the people that you're serving and seeing the fruits of what you're doing and saying like, wow, this is really changing people's lives and their stories. If you could get to the very root, the
Mhm.
driving force of why you do what you do, especially on those difficult days, because I know that you also have those where it's like
Yes.
nothing's going right. We can't figure this out. What is the driving force? What is it that really moves you to do this work every single day?
That one kid. It's that one kid for me. I have no other answer.
Yeah.
It's that one kid for me.
That's it. It was a life-changing moment. And it's
That's my why. If I can make people, if I can do whatever it takes to bring hope, it's that one kid for me. That's my why. That's my goal. Every time I get sad about something, or something didn't go right, it's his face in my head that won't disappear that says, "Thank you. You did this for me."
It just takes one, Shayna. It's like you do
Yes,
one thing, and this is what we
yes,
all need to remember is it's the little things, right? It's the little things that we do
absolutely,
every single day, and it can have a massive ripple effect. And
absolutely.
keep our eyes open for those stories because it's one
Yes,
person changed your life and one person became your why. And
absolutely.
can't wait to see where you and picking up the pieces go from here. I can't wait to stay in
I'm excited.
touch. I wanted to have you on this podcast because you are a one girl revolution. You're changing the world every single day.
Thank you.
But I'm so curious to know, who is a one girl revolution in your life? Who is a woman or girl that inspires you?
I had Asha Mora Ferguson. She works for COTS. She's the CFO for COTS, I do believe. And her drive, her heart is amazing. Is amazing. And even on a bad day, I didn't know her before picking up the pieces. She's not a long-term friend or anything like that. We've gotten close over the year, but it's her heart for me that says, okay, you can do it. And that's what motivates me, because you see somebody that has boots on the ground that you can actually, it's visible, if that makes sense. And, we walk by faith and not by sight, but that's my sight to my faith.
That is such a beautiful spotlight of her. And I think it's always so beautiful when through the work that all of us are doing, like the connecting points where it's like the sisterhood of
Oh
doing
my
good in
goodness.
the world, right? We're all
Yes.
connected. Like you and I got
Yes.
connected through multiple one girl revolutions and even being in service with COTS and getting to know
Absolutely.
other sisters who are out there doing the work. And so I'm just so excited to be now connected with you and get to
Yes.
be a part of your journey
I'm
and the
so
great work that you're
excited.
doing. But before I let you go, Shayna, I
Yes.
always end this podcast on one question. So I'd like to ask you, if you could leave women and girls around the world with one message, what would it be?
It would be to believe. It would be to believe in yourself, no matter what anybody says, no matter how bad it looks, no matter how bad it looked back then. Believe. Believe in yourself, because you got it. You got it.
Well, Shayna, I believe in you and I believe in
Thank
everything that you're
you.
doing. Thank you so much for being
Oh
on the
my
One Girl Revolution
goodness. Thank
podcast. And thank you
you.
for all the incredible work that you do.
No, thank you so much. It was a absolute pleasure. I believe in networking. I believe in genuine connections. And when you reached out to me, it was a dream come true. Just to be here, just to for you to see me and say, "Hey, I believe in you." So I thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your platform. I appreciate the work that you are doing in the community. I appreciate who you are and how you show up. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Shayna, it's that word encounter, right? Like I'm
Yes.
so grateful to now know you. And I'm going to
Yes.
send you the details, but we're having a big bash for Women's
Okay.
History Month on March 1st in Detroit. And so
Okay.
now you're a part of the sisterhood, the One Girl Revolution sisterhood, and
Yes.
we're bringing together all of the Metro Detroit One Girl
Okay.
Revolution. So I hope that on March 1st, I'll send you the details. But
Absolutely. I'm
I hope that I
excited
get
and can't wait.
yeah, I hope I get to meet you in person
Yeah.
there or sometime soon. But thank you again for being on the podcast and thank you for
Thank you.
everything that you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
For more from One Girl Revolution, to listen to all of our podcast episodes, watch our Emmy nominated documentary series, follow us on social media, donate to our nonprofit organization, and more, please visit onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com.